What's going on YouTube? It's ProtoPawn. Welcome to the channel. As you already saw the title of this video and the thumbnail, today we're diving into the world of Pokemon. Recently I was sick and as I was just sitting on the couch, I decided to whip out the old Switch and decided to do a playthrough of Pokemon Shield. And typically when I play Pokemon games, I like to challenge myself, and I'll usually try to pick a certain type of Pokemon. And during this recent playthrough, I picked the Rock type Pokemon. Now, historically, I typically don't care for the Rock type Pokemon, and I do believe overall it's probably one of the most underrated types. I mean, it is good offensively, but typically you're not picking up a Pokemon because of its rock typing, as usually for whatever other typing it may have, or it's just a in general good Pokemon despite the rock type. But honestly, I've just grown to actually really appreciate this typing and really like this typing. And it got me thinking, out of all the rock type Pokemon that has ever been made, which ones do I like the best? And that's where I got this idea to do this video specifically. And I just wanted to take a look at them all and just kind of put them on a tier list of how much do I like this Pokemon. Now, granted, this is nothing to do with how well they do in battle overall. It's more of design and just like the overall uh, like feeling that you get when you see these Pokemon, right? So we're going to start all the way with Gen 1, going all the way through Gen 9 and everything in between, the different variants and everything. And we're only really specifically, for the most part, looking at final evolutions here because I don't want to be here all day going into every single start to finish stage. I will talk about them, but I'm not just going to specifically throw up those Pokemon on this list. Um, but I will talk about them. There's a couple caveats to this, but we'll get there when we get there. So let's start right out the gate here with Gen 1 and its retrain. So we have the Geodude Golem line, right? Geodude, Graveler, Golem. Um, I always thought Golem was okay. Like overall, I mean, he looks like a rock, obviously, like one of the most basic looking rock type Pokemon that you can get. Obviously, Gen 1 really didn't have all that many rock Pokemon to begin with, and a lot of them were the Golem line because you had 3 stages. Later on, you had the Alola version of the Golem line, and in all honesty, they don't really hit me one way or the other. Like I like them both fine. I guess I kind of like the Alola version just a little bit better. I mean, the whole beard and mustache kind of looking like thing is kind of weird, but the railgun kind of looking like thing on it because it's a rock electric type instead of a rock ground. It's kind of cool, but overall, I'm gonna say that these guys are gonna probably reside somewhere here in the B tier. And as we go along with this list, things are subject to change, but I'd probably say, like, overall design-wise, um, there's nothing, like, over the top. I mean, it's pretty basic, so we'll do B for basic. Moving on, we've got Onix, and obviously we're not going to be ranking Steelix here because Steelix loses the rock typing and gains the steel typing, so he goes from rock ground to steel ground, so we won't be ranking Steelix on here, but I do really like Steelix. But Onix here, I mean, probably C tier. I mean, overall his design is great. Unfortunately, he suffers in-game stat-wise, but I know the game developers made him specifically that way, but as a first hurdle in the beginning game, teaching new players ways to get around something like an Onix, but game mechanic wise. But overall, I do like the design, but I don't know. He's probably either like low B tier for me, maybe high C tier. We'll put him in B tier for now. because I do like the rock snake. He is pretty nice looking. We're gonna move on straight to Rhyperior here. Obviously, in Gen 1, Rhyperior wasn't a thing yet, but you're talking about Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and then obviously later on they gave Rhydon a evolution in Rhyperior. In all honesty, I honestly like Rhyhorn the best out of the three. Looks wise, I mean Rhydon's pretty cool, but Rhyhorn I really like the way they designed the bouldery look on him. But Rhyperior here, I mean over like the line overall, I'll probably put it somewhere. He'll probably reside somewhere here in the middle of B tier. I do like him. I do like him more than Golem, the Golem line. So we'll actually put him at the top of B tier for the time being. Moving on, we've got the first three fossil Pokemon, and we have Amistar here. Omnanite, Omnistar, I mean, they're okay. I know a lot of people really like Omnistar. In all honesty, out of the original three here, as we're just going to grade them real quick, I've always liked the Kabutops the best. And in all honesty, we're probably looking something more like this. I mean, he's up here pretty high on the B tier list. I guess maybe Onyx. I might like Onyx a little bit more, honestly, than Amistar. Just design-wise, we're looking at design-wise here. We're not talking about in-game, capabilities, stats-wise for the most part. Again, so I know a lot of people are probably gonna like roast me for this, but honestly, I now given water typing is my favorite typing in Pokemon, but I mean they're fine. Like I've never really been the biggest fans of the fossil type Pokemon, but like I don't know, maybe I do like them a little bit more than this. Aerodactyl definitely. I think this is how I would place them for sure. So we'll do that. Moving on to Gen 2. Gen 2 really doesn't have that much to offer as far as rock type additions here. But we have Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo, it's either going to be low C tier or possibly the top of D tier for me. We'll put them way over here for the time being, because I know this is going to get filled up a little bit more. Moving on, Shuckle. Shuckle is probably going to be somewhere in the mid here, but we'll put them at the top for now. Macargo. Macargo suffers from one of the worst type matchups to date during this time, with Rock Fire being so super effective by water was just tragic for this thing, and this thing was really slow. They did improve upon this typing, and we'll get onto that later on. But design-wise, I do like him. I mean, he does look kind of cool. I'll probably put him somewhere like that. Corsola. If you guys don't know, Gen 2 is my favorite generation, but Corsola, again, water, rock, definitely. I know you guys are gonna kill me for this. We're looking at something like this. In all honesty, I actually like Corsola more than I like Amistar. I know you guys are gonna probably kill me for that. Moving on, we have the best pseudo legendary of all time. My boy Tyranitar. Gonna go all the way to the top of S tier. And I haven't played Gen 9, nor do I ever intend to, but they did do some really cool retrains, and I think Iron Thorns is such a cool idea because it's Tyranitar, but you're dropping the dark aspect and you're giving him electric, I believe. So he's rock electric, and that's kind of some cool typing right there, in my opinion. I know you're like quad weak to ground, but again, I'm not so worried about in-game viabilities right now. I'm just looking at like overall, like how cool are they, like how much I actually like them, just based off of design, not so much about in-game practicalities. But I mean, this is a pseudo legendary thing, so even with a quad weakness to ground, other than that, like, I know he's probably going to hit like a truck, just like the original Tyranitar. So I'm putting these guys together just like I put these guys together. Like, this isn't going to change. Wherever they go, whoever gets in front of them, it's not going to change, or behind them, they're going to be stuck in the middle of whoever. Same thing here, top of S tier for my boy T-Tar. Moving on, we have Gen 3. ProtoPawn technically comes later on, but we're going to have our first D tier mon because Nose Pass might have been at the bottom of C tier, but ProtoPawn, I really have never liked that line. So D tier, I actually like Sudowoodo better than this. So moving on, we have the Aggron line. All three of these mons are bangers. Aron is so cute. Lairon is really cool as a mid-stage. And Aggron, I mean, is one of the coolest rock types of all time, in my opinion. Going up to S tier. Not even going to give it another thought. Moving on, we have the rocks. We have Lunatone and Solrock. They're okay. They're okay design-wise. I like Lunatone a little bit better just because I like the moon a little bit better, but we're probably, honestly, we're probably looking at something more like this. Moving on, we've got, of course, the next set of fossils. We've got Cradilly, and Cradilly, now we're really starting to play around with C tier. Cradilly's okay. Honestly, we're probably looking at something like this. Yeah, we're probably looking at something like this. I don't really have too much to say about it. I mean, it's a fossil. I mean, you got, it's a rock type. It's a rock grass, which is pretty cool. Armaldo is way better in my opinion. I like Armaldo a lot better. So much so that we're probably actually looking more like... So these are going to go here or here. Kabutops is my favorite fossil so far. Do I like it better? Yeah, I think I like it better than Aerodactyl. We're going to do that. This list might be a little bit too small for this, but that's all right. Relicanth, D tier, but definitely over this. Like, this thing is probably going to sit at the bottom of D tier at the end of this. Wouldn't surprise me. Regirock, pretty solid. I mean, it looks like a rock. I'm gonna. I like Rhyhorn better than Rhyperior, but I think I like these guys honestly better than Rhyperior. Whoop. So we'll fix this real quick. I'm gonna stick these two up in A tier. We'll stick Regirock at the top of B tier. Honestly, again, I like Rhyhorn better. At the end of it all, Rhyperior, we're probably looking at something more like this now. Yep, that's about right. All right, moving on with Gen 4, we have, of course, Rampardos, Cranidos, Rampardos. I've always liked this. This is going to go up to like this. Do I like Rampardos more than I like Kabutops? I mean, rock, water. This is just rock, ground, I believe. No, it's just pure rock. We're probably looking at something like this. I really like the whole scythe look to Kabutops, so this is what we're looking at so far here. Bastiodon. Bastiodon, that's a great question. He's probably going to sit in B tier for me. Probably right there. Actually, I think I actually like Rhyperior a little bit better than him. Whoop, what the heck was that about? Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right, Gigalith. Goodness gracious, this guy is S tier as far as like he's pure rock type. He looks like a castle. I love chess. It's my favorite board game. As some of you guys might know from an old video of mine, the way that I constructed my online name is my favorite video game character mixed with my favorite board game. So we have digital games and real life games. ProtoMan from the Mega Man series and chess. So ProtoPawn, bam. Love chess. Looks like a rook. This guy's design is phenomenal. Um, in all honesty, we're probably looking at that so far. But yeah, like everything in between, like leading up to this part, everything's kind of lackluster. But Gigalith really, like Boldar, it's starting to look like this. First stage is whatever, but this really takes this line home. No, I don't think anybody's gonna argue with this being so high on the list. This is an abomination. However, I like it better than Sudowoodo, but I don't think I like it as more than Shuckle. So we'll probably put Crustle right there. I'm really thinking about this. Do I really want them higher or lower? No, I think that's probably right. Moving on, we've got Caracosta, and again we have a rock water, and I really like the design of this a lot, like a lot. We're gonna start moving these guys over. Again, you guys are going to roast me for this. I already know. I do like Corsola a little bit better though, just because Johto, and I don't know. I always liked Corsola. I always thought it was a really cute Pokemon. Moving on, we have Archeops, and Archeops is pretty decent. I don't know. Maybe at the top of C tier here for me for Archeops here. He's all right. I know he's a pretty decent Pokemon, but this just feels right to me. So we're gonna go with it. Probably should just whatever. All right, now we're moving on to how do you say this? Terrakion? Yeah, Terrakion. I mean, he's an alright Pokemon. This is actually where this is gonna split for me. Because I think the retrain is actually cooler. I actually... This is starting to get a little bit difficult just because space. But we're probably looking at something like... Honestly, that looks really good. We're going to put this here. I mean, it's alright. It's pretty basic. I'm going to actually put this at the top of C tier. This is where this split is really... Like, it's kind of generic. Like, it looks nice. It looks good. The Justice Pokemon are pretty cool. But I just think the retrain of this is just far better look-wise. I forget what it is. I think it's... what the heck did they call that thing? I forget. I forget. It doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. We have Barbaracle here. Another rock water. I know a lot of people think this thing looks goofy. I think it looks okay, but it's definitely not escaping C tier for me. I'm actually probably gonna put it right next to Macargo. Yeah, yeah, I think I like Soul Rock a little bit better than him, but not by much. All right, moving on, we've got a really good heavy hitter in Tyron and Tyrantrum line. This is an easy A. I still think I like Armaldo's design better, but this is definitely an A for me. Going on, we've got the Aurorus. Aurorus is pretty good looking. It's probably going to be residing at the bottom of A tier. Carbink, goodness gracious. Carbink is definitely D tier worthy, in my opinion. Actually, I like it maybe just a little bit more than Sudowoodo. Enough said. Deontay, or Deontay. Deontay is pretty cool. I'd probably say probably top of C tier. I think I like it better than this. And then moving forward, I don't really have much to say about it. I've never used it. Just going basically off of looks. It looks nice. Now here is one of our caveats. Rockruff here is one of the cutest rock Pokemon to date. And I know it evolves into 3 different forms that are basically the same thing. You have Lycanroc, that's, you know, midday, dusk, and midnight. And the reason why I'm not using those is I'm using Rockruff here to represent all of them. Out of them all, Rockruff is just the cutest, and that's why I'm using him here. But as far as the others go, they probably, in all honesty, are more somewhere in B tier, in all honesty. Probably somewhere between Rhyperior and Corsola. I would actually put the evolved form of this between them. Actually, no, I'd probably put it above Rhyperior. But the order for me goes midday, dusk, and then midnight. But just barely. I'd put them all next to each other because I don't really... I like them all, but I do like that midday definitely a lot better. And the reason why midnight out of the 3 is my least favorite, which isn't saying much, they're all pretty close. I don't like the bipedal look that they gave him standing up in a lot of his, you know, his animations and whatever, so... but they're all pretty cool in their own right. But Rockruff itself, very cute Pokemon, definitely A tier worthy, so we're actually using him to represent them all. Moving on, we've got Silvally. Silvally's interesting. It's just really weird. I know he's like a chimera kind of like creature, but he's pure rock. Probably... I do actually, oddly enough, like... I mean, the Null form is just terrible, but Null isn't rock. I probably actually like them definitely more than Deontay, but probably actually not as much as I like the Golem line. So we'll put him at the bottom of B tier. I think that's pretty fair. This is what is this? Minor, however you say it. Relicanth again can stay at the top of D tier. Probopass is just ugh. Like this is just laziness and stupid in my opinion. Moving on, we've got the I don't even know how to say it. It's like an Ultra Beast, I believe, Nihilglow or whatever. Nihilio, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. It was one of those generations I skipped. It's not terrible, but it's kind of like eh. I'm going to say it's D tier. But it is kind of interesting, so we'll put it at the top of D tier. I actually like Sudowoodo. You know what? Sudowoodo needs to come down to D tier. This thing is actually at least interesting enough. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, a little bit more than Carving. Crustal... Look, we're adjusting this as we go. Crustal is just weird. Actually, nope, I like it better than Shuckle. I just as I'm looking at it. It's not gonna go higher than Shuckle. I think Macargo looks better design-wise. Then we've got Stakataka here. This is really interesting. I mean, it looks like a moving fortress, in all honesty. Okay, this isn't going to be at the bottom of A tier. Okay, we're going to move Regirock. Or we're going to do this. Except, I like my boy Aerodactyl better than that. And I like that better than that. So this is definitely going to be in B tier. But I think this can move up to A tier. That's fine. You know what? Aerodactyl can move up to A tier. And I definitely like Aerodactyl, I think, better than this at the end of the day. Let's do that. That looks about right. Rhyperior can move in front of this thing. But it is interesting enough to be above the rest of these, in my opinion, so we'll go with that. Then we have the retrain of Growlithe and Arcanine. This is another Rock Fire where it's better than this. Definitely better than this. They've had so long to work on Rock Fire, and this is definitely A tier worthy in design, and I'm probably going to say probably right here. This is just too cute, but I mean, this is really awesome. I like what they did there. It definitely was well. I mean, I don't know if they really needed to do it to Arcanine and Growlithe, but in my opinion, it's welcomed. They did it really nice. It's very tasteful. Dreadnought and Choodle. Obviously, Choodle is just pure water. Dreadnought is pretty good. I do like the way the Gigantamax form looks. Where am I going to put this, though, is the question. We're probably looking at just above the Golem line, in all honesty. We'll get them smaller there. So we're looking at something like that right now. Moving on, now we have what I consider to be the best iteration of Rockfire and what is honestly one of my favorite Gigantamax forms that they did in Gen 8, and definitely it was my starter going through this playthrough of mine that I'm doing in Shield right now with doing rock types. I used Roly-Coly as my starter, and this thing is going up to S tier. And it is probably one of my favorite rock types of all time, and it's honestly, it might even be one of my favorite fire types of all time. But we're looking at something like this right now. Alright, I do think I like Aggron a little bit. Just a little bit more, but it's not saying much. These are all very close, in my opinion. But T-Tar is gonna reign at the top here. He just looks way too good. Going on Stonejourner here. I understand what they were going for. It's still kind of weird in my opinion. It is going to sit here in the D tier. But I think I like it just a little bit less than Relicanth. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good so far. I mean, we're getting close to the end here, so I'm just trying to figure this out if I want it above or below Relicanth. All right, next on the list we have Kleavor, and Kleavor is awesome. Like, just absolute unit. Honestly, probably somewhere. Actually, he's really cool. He's really cool. Probably gonna put Aerodactyl like that. Rockruff is just too cute, but this dude is really awesome. Absolute unit. Really cool retrain of Scyther, but honestly, I'd rather take Scyther because I'd rather have Scizor. Scizor is one of the coolest bug types, probably, yeah, one of the coolest bug types ever. If not, probably, maybe even my favorite. But that might be for another episode. Moving on, Avalugg, the retrain of Avalugg. Honestly, I prefer the original pure ice type of Avalugg over this thing. But its design is still at least interesting enough. Might have to start redoing some of these here. Let's do this. Crustle probably doesn't even deserve to be up in C tier in all honesty. Where did this go? Avalugg. Avalugg can go right there. Moving on, we've got, this is one of the newer Pokemon from Gen 9, Gargantual, or Gargantual, or Garganical, however the heck you say this. He's definitely not going in S tier, but where are we going to put this? He is interesting looking. I will give him that. I mean, he definitely has the rock theme going for him a lot. We'll put him right here next to Rhyperior. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Moving on, we have Cloth. This, my goodness. This is another D tier Pokemon for sure. We're gonna put him there. I mean, he's just a crab. They didn't give him the water type. The water typing might have given him a little bit better of chances, but we've had better looking crabs before, and this is just, I don't know. It just looks a little too weird, in my opinion. Glamora is, again, interesting to say the least, but it's, again, it's really weird. It's really weird looking. We're going to put it there. And last but not least, we have Ogerpon, I want to say. Yeah, Ogerpon. Ogerpon has 3 different forms depending on what typing you give it or whatever. I don't really know how the gimmick works for it. But we will actually judge it. Again, never used this Pokemon, but it's pretty cute looking. The mask here, I know this is supposed to be like a mask. The mask is pretty good looking for a little like rock mask. I'm going to say that we're probably looking at it's definitely better than looking than this thing. It's definitely cute enough to go past this. We'll move these guys down. You know what? I'm gonna put it at the top of C tier. It's pretty cute looking, but apart from that, it really doesn't have too much going for it. The coolness factor of everything up here, Corsola is cuter than this thing in my opinion. But the cuteness factor definitely lands it above all these guys, but it's definitely not cooler than these guys up here. So I think this is the rock type tier list for me, guys. Obviously, my top 4/5, if you want to count this as its own thing. But it's still, I mean, it's still T-Tar at the end of the day. So if you wanted to add a 5th for me, I mean, you could put I just don't think Kabutops makes the cut for S tier. I know a lot of you guys are probably think I'm crazy for putting it all the way up here in A tier. But in all honesty, like, again, it's my favorite fossil ever. and I really like the whole scythe thing it's got going for it. We've got literally a lot of fossils are up here based off of just good design, in all honesty. Uh, Again, kind of basic. This is like the most basic rock that you could really look like. This golem, whatever. Onyx is cool because it's a snake, but like all these have good certain individual reasons why it's up here. And yeah, Kabutop's just it's my favorite. It's my favorite fossil of all time. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this rock type tier list. And if you guys like the video, hit that like button. And if you think I should do another one of these and maybe even make this into a whole new series, leave a comment below and let me know what type I should cover next time. And guys, let me know, who is your #1 favorite rock type Pokemon? Leave that in the comment below. Guys, I'm going to get out of here. I've taken up enough of your time doing a Pokemon tier list. So until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Take care. I'm ProtoPawn. Peace.